Since childhood, we associate the far north with severe cold. We believe that Santa lived on the North Pole, where, well, as we believed, was freezing the most. And that turned out to be a lie. Well, I mean that Santa actually lives in Lapland. But in reality, neither place is the coldest spot on Earth. Same goes for the South Pole. Despite its year-round frost, it's separated from the real pole of cold by over 1,000 kilometers of icy deserts. By the way, the pole of cold is a legit term. It denotes regions with the lowest temperature of each hemisphere and the planet overall. Over some areas of the East Antarctic Plateau, it can get as low as -93°C, theoretically even down to -98. This part of the continent is called Dome Argus and is considered to be the coldest place on Earth. The lowest temperature ever recorded was on then Soviet and now Russian station Vostok, -89°C. On our planet, it can get lower only in some refrigerators and in your ex's heart. The pole of cold of the northern hemisphere, in its turn, is warmer by as much as 22°C. There are people, real people living there. Ordinary Homo sapiens, not Bigfoot's feet. It is located near the towns of Verkhoyanks and Oymyakon, which is deep Siberia. So it's kind of Siberia in Siberia, or Siberia squared. Even though it's not as cold in Siberia as it is in Antarctica, I would not recommend you to go out there in winter wearing just trousers. By contrast, the average summer temperature on Vostok Station is about -30°C, and in Verkhoyansk +17, occasionally even +30. The Arctic and Antarctica are like geographical mirror twins. Although the southern region is much cooler and the pole of cold of the northern hemisphere is not even within the bounds of the Arctic. So what's going on? Almost all the energy in the atmosphere is transformed solar radiation, mainly from the heated planet surface. The sun rays fall onto the Earth at varying angles, depending on the latitude and an hour of the day. The smaller the angle is, the less energy a given place receives, because it's spreading over a bigger area. The sun is lowest on the highest latitudes, that is, on the poles. So we could assume that the poles get warmed the least, thus they are the coldest spots on Earth. Right? Well, in an ideal world, that could be true. In reality, there are two more things that affect the climate besides the sun: the atmospheric circulation and the influence of the underlying surface. Rock and water have different physical properties. Specifically in heat transfer, rock heats up and cools down fast, and the water does both much longer. So a continent acts like a cooler when it's already cold and a heater when it's hot. The ocean, in its turn, serves as some kind of a global temperature equalizer, chilling in summer, warming in winter. The Arctic is mostly ocean, while Antarctica is a continent. Land in the polar region functions as icing nuclei and facilitates accumulation of stable glaciers, while the ocean has only temporary ice. The Antarctic landmass has been constantly overcooling for millions of years. The ice grew over and eventually became several kilometers thick. Well, by the way, this is why Antarctica is actually considered the most elevated continent. And what is happening with altitude? The temperature falls. Then perhaps we should search for the pole of cold on the Everest, the highest mountain on Earth. Since the Himalayas are located in the tropics, temperature cannot drop that much from the bottom to the top. Antarctica has a solid head start before the Himalayas. It is already freezing at the sea level. No wonder that the coldest spot on Earth is located there, deep in the continent, where the warming ocean is the farthest, and the glaciers are really thick. But what's the deal with the northern hemisphere? Why Oymyakon and Verkhoyanks, which are not in the Arctic, are so much colder than the North Pole? Climate extremes of any kind cannot be formed over the ocean, since water evens out the course of the air temperature. And this is where the North Pole is located, in the middle of the Arctic Ocean, covered with ice, but still ocean. Asia, or Eurasia actually, is the largest continent. You remember that the influence of the sea weakens with moving deeper into the land. Thereby, Asian very interiors experience extreme temperatures, because there's no ocean nearby to stabilize it. Northern Asia is colder due to lack of sunlight in the high latitudes. So basically we have just outlined what is known as Siberia. And here's why Oymyakon and Verkhoyanks are particularly cold. The area is a plateau sandwiched between the two highest mountain ranges of Siberia. It's open to the north, so the cold Arctic air masses get trapped and make the plateau a gigantic natural fridge. And since the colder air sinks, a temperature inversion occurs, which means that with altitude it gets warmer and it's coldest at the surface level. And Verkhoyansk and Oymyakon are located in spots where those things overlap the luckiest way. I haven't figured out how to end my videos, so thanks for watching. Be Geo. Bye.